My name is Lucy Chen. I'm 29 now. I was 28 when this happened, and I've always been the easy one in my family. Not loud, not dramatic, not demanding. I don't ask for much, which I think is how I became invisible. I have an older sister, Rachel. She's the golden child. Confident, charismatic, married young, 2 kids by her late 20s. My parents adore her. My mom has framed photos of Rachel's gender reveal like they're sacred artifacts. Then there's my younger brother, Luke, the baby. Athletic, charming, always posting motivational quotes at dawn like he's running a personal brand. My parents brag about him like he's a resume with legs. And then there's me, the reliable one, the quiet one, the one who never caused problems. I left home at 18 for college and never really came back. I built a stable life, steady job in IT, small apartment, low drama. I showed up when invited. I sent thank you texts. I remembered birthdays. I never rocked the boat. And slowly, without anyone announcing it, I started disappearing. I'd get left out of group texts. My birthday cards started arriving late. One year they planned a beach trip and I found out from Rachel's Instagram. That one hurt more than I admitted. But Easter was different. Easter was our thing. Growing up, my mom turned it into a full production. Brunch, dinner, pastel napkins, homemade carrot cake. Even after I moved out, she insisted we keep it sacred. No excuses. Everyone came home. I used to drive in the night before, sleep in the old guest room, help her prep food in the morning while she sipped coffee and gossiped about the neighbors. So when she canceled out of nowhere, no reason, no backup plan, it felt wrong in my bones. I tried to brush it off, poured cereal, opened my laptop, told myself to treat it like any other Sunday. 3 hours later, my phone rang again. Mom's name lit up the screen. I answered. Hello? Nothing. Then I heard it. Forks clinking, chairs scraping, laughter. A room full of people. My heart started pounding. And then my dad's voice, clear as day, slipping into that performative tone he always uses when praying in front of others. Heavenly Father, thank you for this meal, this family. I didn't breathe, I didn't move. I heard Rachel laugh, Luke joke about deviled eggs, my mom telling someone to pass the ham. Then someone asked, did Lucy say she wasn't coming? And my mom replied, casual as anything, she's busy this year. I hung up. My hands were shaking. My mouth tasted like metal. I stood alone in my silent kitchen while my family celebrated Easter without me. That was the moment everything cracked. I didn't cry right away. I wish I could tell you I fell apart in some cinematic way, slid down the cabinet, sobbing into my hands, but the truth was quieter, worse in a way. I just stood there, phone still warm against my palm, staring at the wall. Like if I stared long enough, the reality would rearrange itself into something less humiliating. Maybe I misheard. Maybe it wasn't Easter dinner. Maybe the prayer was from a video. Maybe... Number 1, I knew what I heard. The clink of forks. The laughter. My dad's public prayer voice. My mom's fake casual lie. She's busy this year. As if I'd chosen this. As if I'd asked to spend Easter eating cereal alone. For the rest of the day, I didn't call back. I didn't text. I didn't post anything passive-aggressive. I did nothing. I sat on my couch, phone face down on the coffee table like it was dangerous. That kind of silence doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like grief. Not grief for someone who died, but for something that's still alive and choosing to ignore you. The next morning, I woke up to a text from Rachel. Hope you had a good Easter. That was it. No. Sorry you couldn't make it. No. Mom said dinner was canceled. That's weird. No, miss you. Just a red heart slapped on top of a lie like it could make it sweet. My skin crawled. I didn't respond. The day after that, Mom called. I watched it ring until it stopped. Then she left a voicemail. Hey, sweetheart, just checking in. Hope your Easter was relaxing. Call me when you can. Her voice was light. Too light. Like she was reading lines from a script she'd practiced in the mirror. Like nothing happened. Like she didn't lie. Like I didn't hear her pass the ham while she erased me. I didn't call back. And here's the part that still makes my throat tighten even now. No one came looking. Not Luke, not my dad, not even Rachel with her fake little heart emoji. I didn't block them. I didn't announce I was going no contact. I simply stopped initiating. I didn't text. I didn't call. I didn't react to posts. I didn't remind anyone I existed. And apparently, that was all it took. A week passed, then 2, then a month. Finally, Rachel called. She didn't start with, "Are you okay?" or "I miss you." She started with a sigh like I was inconvenient. "So, are you like mad at Mom or something?" I sat up slowly, heart thudding. My mouth went dry. "Why would you say that?" I asked. "Because," she said, voice sharpening, You've been acting kind of off. She says you're distant. Off. Distant. Like I was the one who did something weird. I laughed, quiet, bitter. Rachel, I said, she but dialed me. Silence. I could hear Rachel swallow, like she'd just stepped onto ice and realized it might crack. What? She called me, I said, voice steady, even though my hands were shaking again. After she told me Easter dinner was canceled, I answered, and I heard all of you, Dad praying, you laughing, Luke talking about eggs, and then Mom told someone I was busy. Rachel exhaled like she was annoyed by the inconvenience of my truth. Oh my God, she said. Lucy, I don't think it was meant to be a big deal. A big deal. My stomach flipped. You lied to me, I said, or she did, and you all went along with it. We didn't want to overwhelm you, Rachel said quickly, slipping into that reasonable one voice she uses when she's trying to win. Overwhelm me. Like I was fragile glass. Like I couldn't handle a dinner. I felt something in me go very still. So you figured I'd prefer to be lied to? That stopped her. You're twisting it, Rachel snapped. It was just small. Luke had his girlfriend there. The kids were loud. Mom didn't want extra stress. So you cut me out, I said, and then you text me a heart like I'm a coworker? Rachel's voice went cold. You always do this. You always make things heavy. That word always hit like a slap. I realized something in that moment. They weren't confused about what they did. They were just annoyed, I noticed. I don't care that you had dinner, I said, voice low. I care that you told me there wasn't one. I care that no one thought that was worth explaining until I overheard it by accident. Rachel made that little sound she always makes when she wants to end an argument, like she's too mature for this. Look, it's not what you think. I hung up. It was the first time in my entire life I'd ever hung up on someone in my family. And as soon as I did, my heart raced like I'd done something illegal. But underneath the fear was something else. Relief. Because for once I hadn't swallowed it. For once I hadn't smoothed it over. For once I didn't make myself small just to keep them comfortable. And still nobody apologized. Days passed. No call from Mom. No Lucy, please. No let's talk. Nothing. They just moved on like I was the problem. Like I'd made Easter weird. Like I was the dramatic one. Then my birthday came. June 15th. I waited all day. I didn't even want gifts. I just wanted the basic proof that I existed. The whole day went by. My phone stayed silent. At 10:07 p.m., Rachel texted, "Happy birthday, hope it was chill." And that was it. No call, no card, no message from Mom, no love you from Dad, no Luke sending a dumb meme. I sat there in the glow of my TV, staring at that little cake emoji like it was mocking me. And something clicked into place so sharply it almost felt physical. This wasn't a weird phase. This was the new normal. I had been quietly demoted from daughter to distant relative. Optional. Disposable. And the worst part was how easy it was for them. The summer dragged on. I went to work, came home, cooked for one, slept, repeated. I tried to pretend I was fine, but I felt erased. And my brain kept replaying every time I had shown up for them. Every time I drove hours for Luke's birthday barbecue. Every time I bought Rachel's kids expensive gifts I couldn't really afford. Every time I sat on my parents' couch listening to my dad talk about Luke like he was a hero, while my achievements floated past like background noise. I was always the one making the effort. And apparently, that effort was the only thing holding my place together. By August, I deleted the family group chat from my phone. Not dramatically, not as a statement, just quietly. And no one noticed. Then came the wedding. Luke's wedding. I found out the way strangers do. Through Facebook. One day I opened the app and there it was. Luke in a tux, grinning. Rachel in a bridesmaid dress. My mom and dad standing by the altar smiling like they were filming a commercial. The caption said, "Best day of our lives, hashtag Luke and Marissa." I stared at it so long my eyes started to burn. No invite. No heads up. Not even a, "Hey, just so you know." I wasn't hurt because I wanted to go. I was hurt because they didn't even consider me. And that was the moment something inside me hardened. Not into rage, into certainty. They weren't forgetting me. They were removing me, deliberately, cleanly, like I never existed. And I was standing in my kitchen again, only this time, it wasn't Easter cereal turning soggy on the counter. It was my whole identity, dissolving in slow motion. That night, I drove to my storage unit. I pulled out old boxes, photo albums, childhood cards, little drawings my mom used to keep. I sat on the concrete floor under fluorescent lights, flipping through memories like they belonged to someone else. Every birthday card that said "Love you forever." Every school photo they'd once proudly displayed. I tried to pinpoint when it started, when I became the extra. But there wasn't one moment, just a long, slow erosion. I went home and opened my laptop and started drafting a letter. Not an angry one, not bitter, just honest. I wrote about Easter, the voicemail, the wedding, the silence. I wrote how small they made me feel, how disposable. Then I deleted it, because the truth landed like a punch. If they cared, I wouldn't have to explain. September, October. Then the final straw came, and it wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was Thanksgiving. Mom texted, "Hope you're well. We're doing something small this year. Rachel's hosting. No pressure to come. Just wanted to let you know. No invite. No, we want you there. No apology. Just another casual exclusion wrapped in a fake olive branch." I didn't reply. Instead, I opened Facebook on Thanksgiving Day and watched the photos roll in. Rachel's table, the kids smiling, Luke holding a beer, my dad carving turkey, my mom wearing her company smile, and in the background, barely visible, a seat at the table with a folded name card. Not for me, for Rachel's dog, a golden retriever named Scout. That was the breaking point. That was the moment I realized I wasn't just forgotten. I had been replaced. And not even by another person. By a pet. I stared at that photo until my vision blurred, and somewhere deep in my chest, grief stopped being soft. It started becoming sharp. Because if they could do that, if they could place a dog's name at the table like it mattered more than their daughter, then they weren't going to suddenly wake up and love me right. They were going to keep smiling, keep posting, keep pretending. And I was going to keep bleeding quietly unless I did something different. So after Thanksgiving, I stopped mourning, and I started planning. I didn't say anything after Thanksgiving. Not a text, not a call, not even a passive-aggressive like on social media. I didn't announce my absence or explain myself. I just disappeared. I archived every family thread on my phone, muted Rachel's Instagram, deleted the photos that kept popping up in my memories like salt in an open wound. That part hurt more than I want to admit. Rachel's page had always been my window, proof that the family I wasn't part of anymore still existed. Watching from the outside had become a habit, an unhealthy one, but letting go felt like losing them all over again. The days after Thanksgiving felt hollow. There's a kind of grief no one warns you about, the kind where the people you're mourning are still alive, still smiling, still answering the door when someone else knocks. They just don't answer for you. I went through the motions. Work, groceries, microwave dinners, sleep. Everything felt muted, like life was happening behind glass, and I was trapped on the wrong side of it. I didn't realize how far I'd slipped until one night in December. I was alone in the office break room, late again, waiting for my frozen lasagna to beep. I was scrolling mindlessly, Instagram, then LinkedIn of all things, when I saw a post from Luke. Grateful to start a new role as senior marketing manager. Blessed beyond measure. Dozens of comments poured in. Congratulations. So proud. Amazing news. My mom's comment was right at the top. So proud of you. I stared at it longer than I should have. I'd been at my IT firm for 6 years. 2 promotions. Built an internal system they still relied on every day. I wasn't flashy, but I was solid, reliable, the kind of employee people leaned on without realizing it. And I couldn't remember a single time my parents had acknowledged anything I'd achieved. I wasn't even sure they knew what I did for a living. Something in me snapped, not loudly, not angrily, quietly. That night, after my sad little lasagna beeped, I went back to my desk and opened my own profile. I updated it, added certifications I'd let collect dust, changed my bio, uploaded a new photo. When I finished, I sat back and stared at the screen. That was the first spark. The next came a week later when my landlord emailed me about my lease renewal. Rent was going up again. Normally, I would have sighed and accepted it. Instead, I opened Zillow, just curious. I clicked around and found a small one-bedroom condo about 20 minutes away. Cheaper mortgage, big windows, a tiny balcony. I bookmarked it. That was all. But something had shifted. January came, cold and quiet. I started going to the gym after work. Nothing dramatic, no posts, no before and after photos. Just 30 minutes on the treadmill, then weights. I didn't tell anyone, not even my coworker, who usually talked my ear off about fitness. I didn't want an audience. I started cooking real meals too. Stir fry, chili, chicken with lemon and thyme. Cooking for one felt stupid at first, but there was something grounding about it. The sizzle of garlic, the steam when you lift the lid. For once, I wasn't rushing through dinner to fill the silence. I was present. Therapy came next. I'd always told myself I didn't need it, that I was fine. But one night in February, walking home in freezing wind with grocery bags digging into my palms, I got inside, sat on my bed, and cracked. The tears came hard and fast. Ugly, full-body sobs. the kind that scare you because you don't recognize the sounds you're making. I didn't call anyone. I Googled therapists near me and sent an email. Her name was Meredith. Soft voice. No nonsense. She didn't nod excessively or speak in that patronizing tone I'd always feared. She listened, and slowly the story came out. Easter, the voicemail, the wedding, the dog's name card. One day she said something that lodged itself deep in my chest. "You didn't lose them," she said. "You were never allowed to be fully part of them." That sentence stayed with me for weeks. By March, something had changed. I wasn't happy exactly, but I wasn't broken anymore. I was building. And the strangest part? No one noticed. I didn't look different. I didn't broadcast anything. I still wore the same hoodies, drank the same mediocre coffee. But I noticed, and that was enough. Then something unexpected happened. I woke up one morning to a missed call from my dad. No voicemail, just the log. 7:32 a.m. I stared at it for a long time. Habit told me to call back. Conditioning. Years of being the easy one. But a stronger voice stopped me. If it's important, he'll try again. He didn't. Instead, a week later, an email popped up from Rachel. Subject, family brunch, planning ahead. I almost laughed. The message was pure Rachel. Exclamation points, emojis, overly cheerful. "Hey fam, I was thinking we should all get together for a casual spring brunch. Mimosas, quiche, the works. April 9th at my place. Let me know if you can make it." Below her message were replies from Mom, Dad, Luke, even Luke's wife. No one mentioned me, but I was on the chain, copied like an afterthought, like someone pulled my email from an old address book and shrugged. I didn't reply. I created a filter instead. Any message from Rachel or my parents went into a folder called Noise. I checked it once a week, just to make sure no one had died or something, but otherwise it stayed closed. Spring passed. I bought the condo on a rainy Thursday in May. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. White walls, hardwood floors that creaked just enough to feel alive. Big windows that let in more light than I was used to. I bought a plant, then another. Started learning how to keep them alive. That felt symbolic. I made friends with the guy downstairs and his beagle. Started going to trivia nights. Lost badly, laughed anyway. Somewhere along the way, I realized I hadn't thought about Easter in weeks. That was huge. I hadn't forgotten, but it no longer owned me. Then the envelope arrived. No return address. Just my name, Lucy Chen, written in my mom's unmistakable cursive. Inside was an invitation. Cream cardstock, gold foil, formal lettering. Rachel Chen's 35th birthday garden soiree. Formal attire, adults only. No note, no apology, no explanation. Just the invitation. The first time they'd included me in nearly a year. And I knew immediately, this wasn't a peace offering. It was a performance. They didn't want me. They wanted my presence so my absence wouldn't look bad. And standing there in my quiet condo, invitation in hand, something finally became clear. They didn't miss me. They missed the version of me who stayed silent. And this time, I wasn't going to play that role. I didn't respond to the invitation right away. I set it on the counter next to an overdue water bill and a half-empty mug of coffee and just stared at it. The gold foil caught the light from my balcony window like it was mocking me. Garden soiree. Rachel loved a theme. Loved anything that photographed well. Pinterest perfect tables, catered food, curated playlists. Every party she hosted felt less like a gathering and more like a branding exercise. And now suddenly, after nearly a year of silence, I was invited. Not because they missed me, because my absence was starting to look noticeable. That realization didn't hurt the way it used to. It felt clarifying, like finally understanding the rules of a game I'd been losing for years. I called Meredith. "I think they want me back," I said. She didn't rush to reassure me. Didn't say that's great, or maybe this is healing. She asked one question instead. "What do you want out of this?" I stared at the invitation while I answered. "I don't want reconciliation," I said slowly. "I want acknowledgement. I want them to see what they did. Not through a fight, through themselves." Meredith was quiet for a moment. "Then whatever you do," she said, "do it without abandoning yourself." That was the difference this time. I wasn't going to show up small. IRSVPD, yes, the next day. One sentence, no emoji. Rachel responded in under a minute. "Yay! So glad you can make it. It's going to be amazing. Formal attire." I didn't reply. Instead, I started preparing. Not out of spite, out of intention. First came the photographer. A friend of a friend recommended a local guy named Kyle, specialized in candid event coverage. I told him up front this wasn't a normal gig. "The dynamics are complicated," I said. I don't need posed smiles. I need the truth, the stuff people don't realize they're showing. He didn't flinch, just nodded. Got it. I paid him half up front. Next came the outfit. Not business casual, not understated. I went full three-piece. Navy wool, tailored, crisp, shoes polished until I could see my reflection in them, a watch I hadn't worn since college. Not to intimidate. To remind myself I belonged in every room I entered. The day of the party, I arrived exactly 10 minutes late. Not early enough to look eager, not late enough to look rude. Rachel's lawn was already packed with cars, balloons tied to the railings. String lights crisscrossed the backyard. Soft music floated through the air. Acoustic covers and indie pop, her usual. I walked in through the side gate. Heads turned. Conversations paused. Rachel spotted me first. Her smile snapped into place like muscle memory. Lucy, you made it! Too bright, too rehearsed. Wouldn't miss it, I said, smiling back. My mom froze when she saw me. Not upset, surprised, like she hadn't actually believed I'd come. My dad followed with a nod and a pat on the shoulder. No hug, no apology. No one mentioned the year of silence. No one mentioned Easter or Thanksgiving or the wedding. It was all surface-level chatter and curated politeness, and I played along. I complimented the decorations, asked about the kids, took a small plate of food I didn't finish, let myself fade in and out of conversations. Kyle blended into the crowd like he belonged there. Polo shirt, mirrorless camera, unremarkable in the best way. Every time someone talked over me, every time my mom looked past me, every time Rachel redirected attention away from me, mid-sentence, he captured it. Later in the evening, Rachel clinked her glass and gathered everyone for a toast. I stood near the edge, drink in hand, watching my family cluster under the string lights like a staged photo. Then Rachel spotted me. Lucy, she said brightly, want to say something? A few heads turned. I stepped forward slowly, calm, grounded. I raised my glass. To Rachel, I said, and to family, however you define it. There was polite laughter, a few confused looks. Sean, Rachel's husband, frowned slightly, like he sensed a subtext he couldn't quite decode. I smiled, took a sip, and then I disappeared back into the crowd. 30 minutes later, I left. No goodbye, no explanation, just walked out. The next morning, I sent Kyle the rest of his payment and gave him editing instructions. Soft light, muted tones, no filters, no dramatics. Just honesty. When the album was ready, I uploaded it privately and sent one email to the family chain. Subject: thanks for a lovely evening. Body: a single link. No commentary, no accusations. Because sometimes you don't need to shout. You just need to show people who they are when they think no one's watching. I didn't open the photo album for 2 days. I wanted the silence to do some of the work. Let the link sit there in their inboxes like an unanswered question. When I finally clicked it, I knew immediately Kyle had understood the assignment better than I ever could have explained. The photos were beautiful in a way that only truth is. There were smiles, lots of them, but they were thin, performative, stretched tight for the camera, and in between those polished moments were the cracks. Rachel mid-laugh, champagne glass raised, eyes rolling slightly as she turned her back to me. My mom crouched down, cooing at Scout, holding the dog like a baby, while I stood a few feet away with my drink untouched, half in frame, half erased. Luke animatedly telling a story to a group, while I sat alone at a corner table, shadowed by the pergola lights, present but clearly not included. And the final image stopped my breath. A wide shot of the whole yard, string lights glowing, arms raised in a toast, everyone smiling. And me in the foreground, blurred slightly, walking away. Back turned, suit crisp, posture straight, unbothered. It didn't accuse anyone. It didn't scream. It just showed the truth they'd spent a year pretending wasn't real. The fallout came in slow waves. First was Rachel. Hey, not sure if you meant to share those photos. Some of them are kind of unflattering. No emojis this time. I didn't reply. Then my dad sent an email. Family should focus on good memories, not weird moments caught on camera. Let's try to move forward. I archived it without opening. Then came a message I hadn't expected from Sean. Lucy, I know things are tense, but I really don't want this to affect my work. Someone from a networking event asked about the photos. There it was, the crack. I hadn't posted the album publicly. I hadn't tagged anyone. I'd simply shared it, quietly, with a few people I'd met weeks earlier at an industry event. One of them worked in HR at Sean's company. The album wasn't labeled Revenge. It was titled Rachel's Garden Soiree. Unfiltered moments. That was enough. Sean didn't lose his job. Nothing dramatic like that. But the client account he'd been pushing for, it quietly went to someone else. Perception is currency, and suddenly his image wasn't spotless anymore. Phase 1. Phase 2 was my mom. She called twice. The second voicemail cracked. Lucy, I don't understand why you're doing this. Those photos make us look cold. That's not fair. We love you. Love. The word landed flat. Love without action isn't love, it's nostalgia. I didn't call back. Instead, I mailed her something. A single photo from the album, one I hadn't even noticed at first. My mom standing center frame with Rachel, Luke, the kids. Everyone close, everyone connected. And me behind her, slightly blurred, eyes fixed on her back. On the bottom, I wrote 4 words. This is how it felt. She never called again. The final step wasn't revenge. It was paperwork. In late June, I met with an attorney. Beige office, bad lighting. A stack of forms that felt heavier than they should have. I had no spouse, no kids, and no family I trusted to carry my name forward with care. So I made a choice. Every asset, every account, everything I had worked for went into a trust. With one clause made painfully clear, no immediate family beneficiaries. Instead, I set up a small scholarship fund for young adults estranged from their families due to emotional neglect. Kids who learned too early how to survive being invisible. When the documents were finalized, I scanned them and sent one email. To Rachel, CC'd Mom and Dad. Subject, since you forgot me, let's make it official. Body, please don't contact me about this. It's not a threat, it's a courtesy. I didn't get a reply, but I know they opened it. A week later, Rachel unfollowed me on Instagram. Then Luke. Then my mom. The quiet erasure they'd once mastered. I returned intentionally. And the strangest thing? It didn't hurt the way I thought it would. It felt clean. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. The final moment of closure came on a random Tuesday in July. I was sitting on a park bench reading when my phone buzzed. A message from Kyle. Thought you might like this. It was a link, a local human interest article. The quiet daughter who made silence visible. No names, just a reflection on a photo series. On how absence can be louder than confrontation. On how being forgotten doesn't mean you were ever insignificant. The last line stopped me cold. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is show up as yourself, then walk away. I closed my phone and looked out at the trees, the sun filtering through the leaves. For the first time in a long time, my chest felt light. I wasn't the forgotten daughter anymore. I was the one who remembered everything.